So these what I think are the top 5 ritual decks that you can be using for the ritual festival. Disclaimer, me and chat helped me build these Yu-Gi-Oh decks. So these are not like definitive builds that you want to use, but they are really good rough drafts. I have 5 different decks for you guys. I think that they're really, really fun to play. And one of the biggest problems with this festival is trying to figure out exactly what to play because the extra deck is so limited. Disclaimer, guys, even if you do this, Synchro, Exceed, Link, Fusion, you're not going to get much. I'm promising you. So, like, literally max out of 3 of every card that you can inside of your extra deck. It really does not matter outside of the cards that you need. That's pretty much all I have to say about that, right? So, let's go ahead and jump on in. Right now, we have a Dark Magician deck. And it's ironic that Dark Magician wasn't really censored. It did lose a lot of its fusion prowess and some of its link plays, but where it makes up for is that this card right here is actually really good. Magician of Chaos allows you to be able to target a card on the field and destroy it as a quick effect. Anytime a spell or trap or effect is activated, then if this ritual summon card is destroyed by battle or card effect, it allows you to summon a Chaos or Blackluster Soldier ritual monster to your side of the field, ignoring its summoning condition. So it's actually not a bad card, especially seeing that it becomes Dark Magician while on the field. I actually thought about playing more copies of Secret of Dark Magic because it would be another way to be able to gain the effect of your Dark Magical Circle. If you have this card in hand and Dark Magician on hand, you can then Secrets of Magic Circle on your opponent's turn, tribute Dark Magician to be able to summon Magician of Chaos, and then still trigger the effect of your Dark Magical Circle, which I thought was pretty cool. And then there's also Illusion of Chaos, which is not only an essential piece. I know the card that we actually should have been playing. My apologies, guys. This card is a card that you should be playing inside of this deck. Again, we kind of built this deck really quick. So we were like, oh, what do we put in? So, you know, just a rough build. But you 100% play Preparation of Rites. And if I had to drop a card, maybe 2 Tactics Talent, you could keep it at 40, maybe drop like, I don't know, a Veiler, like something like that. But yeah, basically the whole thing of this deck is to be able to summon your Magician of Chaos. And Illusion of Chaos can not only search the cards that you need, but it also has a pretty neat effect. When your opponent activates a monster effect, you can return this card to the end, special one more Dark Magician from your graveyard, and if you do, negate that activated effect. So not only does Magician of Chaos give you a little bit of destruction, Illusion of Chaos actually gives you a little bit of negation. So Dark Magician is solid as a Yu-Gi-Oh deck for the festival. Consider playing it if that's what you want to see. Of course, we have 5 other decks that we want to talk about. Let me go ahead and save and return and then move on to the next one. We have the ironic Blue Eyes is not a terrible Yu-Gi-Oh deck. Now, again, extra deck is pretty much going to be the same. One thing that I will say about this Blue Eyes deck is a monster named Geonator Transverser does not exist here. Geonator Transverser allows you to swap your monster with your opponent, which can be really deadly because you're going to give your opponent a monster like Incantation Talismandra. And since your Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon does double damage, after you would swap the control of this card to your opponent, this card would do double damage. It would attack into this monster, and that would mean 8,000 damage exact game. Unfortunately, you don't have Geonator Transverser, so we resorted to playing cards like Creature Swap. Thank you so much, the Wild Hound. And you can also play Mystic Box. Let me go ahead and put Mystic Box. If you're trying to be like really, really greasy with it, thank you so much, Ryan Possible. Mystic Box can destroy an opponent's monster and give your opponent an incantation if you wanted to play 6 ways to be able to potentially OTK your opponent with Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon, because ultimately that's exactly what you're trying to do. It's built on being able to summon this monster because not only is it can't be destroyed by card effects, untargetable, it's 4,000 attack. A lot of decks are going to struggle. What you want to do with this deck, of course, is be able to ritual summon in your Chaos Max, but Chaos Dragon also is a very powerful card, and you're going to be summoning these monsters through your advanced ritual arts, Chaos Form for your Blue Eyes White Dragon, advanced high ritual art to send the Blue Eyes White Dragon back into the deck. You don't necessarily care about it being returned because a lot of times when you summon both of these, you win the game. And advanced ritual art to send Blue Eyes into the graveyard with Jet Dragon action just in case things go awry. This is actually a really, really interesting deck and one that you should probably consider playing. It's not as cheap as Dark Magician, as it's just 3 structure decks, but this one can be pretty cool. Next, we're going to go ahead and go into Festival Makanko. A lot of players thought that Festival Makanko was really good and it would transfer over. There are a couple of problems with this Makanko deck that are not prevalent in the regular Master Duel without the event. The first and biggest thing that I want to talk about is that the kaiju monsters are banned for the most part. Thank you so much, Apego, for the follow. Humongous is your strongest kaiju that you can give your opponent. Lava Golem is still a complete terror to deal with. Tributing your opponent's monsters, it can still mean game, but you got to give up your normal summon. We actually supplemented this with Nibiru the Primal Being. We wanted to be able to give our opponent the fattest token available because that allows our Makanko monsters to be able to OTK. But if you guys have not played on the ladder as of recent, Makanko is a deck that wants to OTK you by summoning your Makanko monsters, then equipping them with equipped spells, inflicting damage to the opponent. I don't think that this deck is one of the more powerful decks inside of the festival, but as you can see, if you're already playing Makanko, this is a build that you can reference and change your build up to be able to compensate without spending gems. Is it a deck I think can compete? Just personally, I don't like Makanko, and on top of that, I'm not sure if it'll be able to compete without the high level kaijus and the lack of your opponent summoning really strong monsters. It'll actually be a really good counter if a lot of players are playing Blue Eyes. Perfect counter, but other than that, I'm a little shaky with it, right? So I heard that you were trying to get my Libromancer sauce earlier. We forgot about the Libromancers. My bad, I will show you Libromancers too. So this was the spice that I was cooking when I thought that Drytron had all of the cards off the list. But then we realized that the megalith cards are still incredibly powerful. So this is Drytron megalith. Keep in mind, one of Drytron's biggest things was that they could summon monsters, go into link monsters fairly easily. Of course, that doesn't exist, but the megalith part of the Drytron deck is still really, really powerful. I'm not even sure if we should be playing the other megalith cards, so I'm just going to go ahead and look them up for you guys. Like, Megalith Emergence seems like a really good card, right? Like, in theory, this card's really good. You can target one megalith monster in your graveyard, spell summon in the defense position, but put it to the bottom of the deck. That allows you to trigger a lot of megalith effects. And then we still have the Megalith Portal. I actually think you should be running at least a couple of copies of those cards. And Megalith Promotion, I don't think that you play those, but the other two cards are solid alongside of the Megalith Unformed. So basically, this deck has a couple of modes of play. The first mode of play is to be able to establish a board. Using your Drytron monsters, you can actually snatch your opponent monsters through tributing Benton to be able to gain fairy resources and then immediately ritual summon into Natasha. It's crazy strong how powerful that particular strategy is. But then you can also go back to your megalith combos, which allow you to be able to gain so much advantage and tribute summon and do so many crazy things, right? It's actually an incredible deck, and I think one of the best things is Base Thor, being able to destroy cards on your opponent's field up to another ritual monsters with different names in your graveyard. That's Natasha, Ben 10, Ophiel, your Draconids, and your Quadrantid, whatever it is, right? Speaking of such, these cards are almost like the Blue Eyes monster. They're very powerful. 4,000 attack is crazy good, guys. And not only is that, these cards do have disruption capabilities and are untargetable. So really consider Drytron if you think that you can make, if you already have these cards and you can make the deck. It's actually pretty cool. That would bring it down to 42. Now, second to last, because I still have to build another deck, we have the deck that I was actually going to play. Prediction Princess, crazy. So I was really hyped about this deck at the Ritual Festival is because I thought I could play Whirlwind Weasel and Guard Dog. And what those monsters do is that Guard Dog prevents your opponent from special summoning, and Whirlwind Weasel can stop all your opponent's spells and traps. Crazy good. But I don't think that this variant is any worse. This is a Prediction Princess variant that is built for the Ritual Festival. And if you just so happen to be just like me and didn't decraft your Prediction Princess Turretaries and just have them sitting there, here's a deck. Basically what this deck is built on, it's going to be summoning your Pot of Forbidden. This card's kind of crazy good. It allows you to draw 2 cards, return all spell and trap cards on the field, destroy all monsters your opponent controls, look at one of your opponent's hand and shuffle. So this card is crazy good, especially since you can flip it face up and face down with your Prediction Princess monsters. That is one huge benefit of this deck, having a triple tactics talent that you can activate so many times in a turn. Next is Subterra Behemoth Umastrix. This card allows you to give you control with banishing a monster on your opponent's side of the field. And Deus Crawler is the closest we're going to get to a skill drain. Not only does it kind of prevent itself from being targeted, it can negate and destroy it if your opponent targets. And then all monster effects activated on your opponent's field are negated. That's kind of good. So Prediction Princess is actually a control-y type deck that's built on being able to get into the cards that it needs. Once it starts ritual summoning into your territories, both kinds, then you can pretty much control the game from there. If you were buying a lot of the packs that just so happen to have Catch Tira and stuff, this is the card for you because you probably have them left over. And this is what I have for a quick Makanko build provided by Wing-kun. The Makanko deck is actually, or my apologies, this is what I have for a Libromancer deck. Quick compliments of Wing-kun. This is a pretty solid Yu-Gi-Oh deck. Basically, if you guys didn't know, the Makanko monsters are going to generate advantage because they get you so many other Makanko cards, eventually leading to a Doombreaker, which can also give you the negation with Libromancer intervention. You can also use the Makanko cards to be able to still inflict that type of damage. I actually think this might be a better version of the Makanko deck for the festival. Really, really cool how this one could be played. I think that the Libromancer version of it is probably a little bit better. Instead of Rivalry, I play Promise. Sure, you guys can do stuff like that. Again, I'm not the best when it comes to ritual decks. That's why I'm really excited that chat actually helped me build these. And hopefully these are some decks that you can take advice from and build your own deck with. Thank you guys so much for watching. Really hope you enjoyed. If you want to see more, catch us on stream Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Can't wait to see you there.